Welcome to CR, Recovery on the Hill. We are, of course, a 12-step program, but it's not just any 12-step program. We actually name our higher power here at this program, and that is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
We truly believe He's the difference between sobriety and staying clean. You can get well, you can recover from a lot of issues, but really true recovery only comes through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Start that music fucking, huh? So here, Shelby Christian Church, we've got a saying that we love, and that is to love God, love people, and change the world. And that's what we are set out to do. If it's one person at a time, that's the way it's going to be, and we hope that you guys are going to be a part of that with us. This program, CR, it's a safe place. It's a safe space. It's a place to grow, a place to feel included and loved, and we hope that we make that for you. It's also a place to recover. And if you stick with us for a few weeks, you'll learn the process of how we talk and what we talk about, and you'll understand what I mean. We do a 16-week series. It is 12 steps over 16-week span. We cover a lot in those 12 steps. Hopefully you'll get something out of that. 12 steps can be the difference in your life. I know they were for me and a lot of people in this room. Tonight we're going to do things a little bit different. We're not going to read, I know we handed out the folders, but we normally would read the 12 steps and the serenity prayer there. I wasn't going to do that tonight, so we're going to dive right in a little bit. So, do you believe in Jesus? And that answer might be a maybe, might be a yes, of course, or it might be a no, I don't know. But if so, my question to you tonight is, do you trust Him? Trust is hard for a lot of us, especially in recovery, because we've all got different backgrounds and histories. But if we learn to let go and let God and give Him a chance, He will change us. Tonight we're going to open the chip ceremony with a song that I had requested for me to play. It is a very powerful song. I didn't realize really how powerful it was until this morning. I downloaded the song onto my phone and I was listening to it over and over to work today. And I've heard this song probably a dozen times before this, and I always never really paid much attention to it because it seemed very repetitive, the lyrics. But this version in the beginning, he says a few things that really caught my attention. And it just gave me a whole different perspective on it. I'll give you a little fair warning. If you ever see me sitting on the side of the interstate, bawling in tears, don't pay no mind to me. It's just me worshiping my music. I'm sure I look like a nut this morning, but
You couldn't fix a flat, right?
the last few months have been a little testy, so it was good though. It was good. There's nothing more comforting in hard times than knowing when you have nothing else to hold on to, nothing to protect you, nothing to shield you or to cover you, that you've got God. You know, and if you don't know that feeling, please hang around a little while. You'll get to know it, and I promise you it is very comforting. He'll do this for us as long as we will receive it. God is very merciful. To some that don't enjoy music for worship or even worship yourself, this may not be for you. It sounds a little repetitive. I warned you on that. But you got to feel it. Don't just listen to it and hear it. Feel it. Put your hands up. Thank God that He's got you this far. For those of us that do love music, which I do, I love music. That's one of my favorite times on Sunday morning is worshiping with the band. You'll love it. If you need something to hang on to, this, my friends, is power. It's power to fight our battles. That's the song. It's called Surrounded, but a lot of people know it as Fight My Battles. That's the lyric in it a lot. But understand the meaning behind the song. He starts by saying in the song, the word says, for the spirit of heaviness, put on the garment of praise. Ephesians 6:11 is one of my all-time favorite verses. It says in Ephesians 6:11, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. So you picture that armor being God and His Word. So I'm going to play this. Don't just listen to this song. I want you to feel it.
The word says, spirit of heaviness, put on the garment of praise.
Y'all stand up with me and worship this with me if you would.
That's how we fight our battles. This is how I fight my battles.
Try to feel this.
This is how I fight my battles.
Use this energy to let go and let God.
This is how I fight my battles. We're doing tonight. This is how I fight my battles.
Let your walls down for a minute.
Just when you think you're lost, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. Hey. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you.
Feel His love.
It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I
Cross right
fight
there is
my
how we fight our
battles.
battles, you guys.
This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles.
Surrendering to his love. Man, that's powerful. I don't know why that hit me so hard this morning, but man, that hit me hard. Thank you, Dean, for suggesting that song. Here at CR, we want to help you fight your battles. That's what we want to do. With that, we celebrate with milestone chips. Is there anybody in the room tonight that is here for the very first time or is wanting to start fresh with a new battle? This is what we call our starting point. We have a chip that even says starting point on it. Feel free to come up, man. Come on. We want to celebrate with you, man. Congratulations. Glad you're here, man. Anybody else ready to get this journey on the road? We would love to help you through it. Is there anybody with 30 days tonight? You got 32, man? All right.
Need to step there for 62?
Slow walk back.
Anybody else 30 days? Anybody with 60 days? Good job, y'all. Good job. Anybody else 60 days? 90 days? Yeah.
Go girl, go girl.
90 days. Anybody with 4 months? Congratulations. Anybody else 4? 5? 5 months. Come on, somebody get up and get a 5. Don't break the chain. 6. Anybody 6 months? 7? You never know, it's a lot.
Good job.
That is the awkwardest thing.
I know. Like high five and shake and hug at the same time. Let's see, what was on 7, right? Anybody else 7? 8? Give me an 8, give me an 8, give me 9, give me 10, I don't know.
Don't take Dean's job from him.
Right.
9?
Mhm.
9 months. 10. 11.
Way to go. Way to go.
Anybody else 11? 12? Anybody got a year tonight? Nobody? All right, well, let's wrap it up, man. Anybody got 2 years? Anybody above 2 years? 3, 4, 5? I was trying to kill enough time, man.
You tried.
We got a guy that's, slacking around. He ain't here on time. But we'll give the pastor some slack. We got a 4-year celebration tonight that Dave really, really wanted to be here, man. And I don't know where he's at. He's stuck in traffic or something. He said he was on his way, but
You can come back to it. We can do it later.
Yeah, come back to it.
Do it later.
I'll leave it to you, bro. You want to come on up? Let us celebrate with you?
Yeah, we'll wait for Dave.
Okay. All right, we'll do that at the end. So we got a great speaker tonight. He is actually a Shelby Christian member, him and his family. He teaches a lot at the Healing Place, does some classes, some clinics, and he is here to speak to you guys tonight about a very important topic I find important to myself. Please welcome Jeremy Hayden.
All right, I set my alarm. I get a little long-winded, so my phone's over there. So if anybody hears it and I don't, just throw a hand at me, okay? Hey, speaking of fighting my battles, I texted Dennis earlier and I was like, man, I'm stuck in traffic downtown. I might be a few minutes late. And I'll be dang if he didn't text and just say, God got this. The funny part about that was that's not what I wanted to hear at that very moment,
Right.
but it was extremely true, right? And you know, for me, guys, you know, it's not part of my, you know, conversation tonight. But speaking of Dennis' points about music, real quick, for me, faith-based music always annoyed me for some reason. I never really liked it. I never listened to it. It always got on my nerves because there's Dave. You want me to stop?
No.
Okay, just making sure. He's the important one, not me. So, sorry to derail there. Faith-based music always never really interested me because of the repetitiveness, right? And I had this conversation with many people that I just can't get into faith-based music because they just say the same thing over. Like I need more substance to it, right? And I can't remember his name, but the guy that used to do the worship leader here, Seth, sat me down one day and he was like, that's the point. It's not about the words. The repetitiveness is what we want you to feel. And once you start feeling it, you'll get it. Mm-hmm. So once I got out of my own head and I stopped overthinking it and I focused on the words and the feeling and the music and how it made me feel instead of what I was hearing, everything opened up for me. So part of my daily worship, just so you guys know, on my way to work every morning, I've got my playlist. Number 1, Graves in the Gardens. If you've never heard, I think you might have played it last week.
Yep.
Graves in the Garden is my jam. And you're going to learn why momentarily, because that song has got a lot to do with it. So if you haven't heard it, go play it tonight, okay? Next topic of conversation. Forgive me in advance, couple reasons, couple apologies I want to make early on. My voice, my allergies are killing me. I have managed to escape COVID, but my allergies are going to be what gets me. And typically when I do these presentations, mostly I do them off of PowerPoint presentations, not paper. So if I'm awkwardly moving around or I look like I'm off track, it's because I am. Okay, just bear with me. I'll get back to zero in a moment. Okay. So, to introduce myself, thanks for the introduction. My name is Jeremy Hayden. And guys, I am honored to be in front of you all. Many of you all have probably seen me awkwardly hanging out over there. I am extremely nervous about being up here in front of you guys, just so you know. The reason for that is because I've had the privilege over the last few weeks of hearing some of your stories. Hearing about the obstacles that you've overcome and the battles that you're currently fighting that have you here. And to me, my story doesn't add up, right? It just doesn't. So I have the utmost respect and love for each of you all here. So just know that, okay? Know that. Tell you a little bit about me, my family and I. Like Dennis said, my family and I, we are members here at Shelby Christian Church. We also live here in Shelbyville, lived here my whole life. I'm born and raised Baghdad, Kentucky. I'm a dumb redneck, no college education. Love this city, will never move. I talked to my big city wife into moving out of Louisville to Shelbyville. First question she asked was, is there a Target? No, there's not a Target, okay? But we got the Kroger store, right? Right. And then she was like, the Kroger's? What are you talking about? I'm like, whatever. So, that being said, I want to tell you guys a little bit about what I do professionally, and then I'll tell you my why, and then we'll get into briefly a little bit, and then we'll have some follow-up plans or ideas or thoughts after the fact, right? So I lead financial health services for JP Morgan Chase Bank, okay? For those of you who, I'm sure all of you are probably familiar with Chase Bank, largest bank in the world, right? But recently, Chase recognizes that we might not have always been the bank for everyone, but we want to be now. We had a $30 billion path forward commitment that we recently put out, which is our commitment to address the racial wealth gap, the racial trust gap in the banking industry. And part of that path forward commitment is our commitment to bring access to financial health tools and resources to people that want them. They don't teach it in schools anymore. They don't teach it. A lot of times you have to pay financial coaches. You have to pay people to get it, right? That's my job, completely complimentary and free of charge, okay? So, my work is centered around primarily focused on budget and savings. I hate the word budget, so forgive me. I like to change the word budget into just a relationship with our money, just changing our relationship with money, not focusing so much on budget because that stresses me out. It stresses out a lot of people. I do work around credit, credit education. What is credit? How to work on bad credit if you've made some mistakes in the past, like you're getting ready to learn about in a few minutes. And home ownership, home buyer education. A lot of people want to be home buyers. Talking with Habitat for Humanity a few weeks ago, 90% of all people that go through Habitat for Humanity, their applications get declined. It's because the people that go through there, they're not ready to be homeowners. They're just financially not ready. But what are we doing to combat that? We've got to bring education to those who want it to help get them ready. So that's my job, right? Professionally. Personally, my why, really quick, and I want to make sure I'm staying on track. My why is, you know how they say when your first child is born, it's supposed to be the happiest day of your life, right? For me, it was the worst day of my life, okay? Not even kidding. I'll tell you why. Don't judge me. So, for me, my son was born. He was acting very weird to start with. He was just tired. He wasn't latching on to mom. He wasn't acting like a normal baby, okay? Come to find out, he had this little bump in his umbilical cord that the doctor cut and clamped, thinking that it was a herniated blood vessel, right, which was creating this little bump that you typically don't see. Come to find out, it was his bowel. It was a small intestine that was in the umbilical cord. Doctor cut and clamped. My son sat dying in the hospital for 3 days before anybody figured out something's not right. He developed septicemia, and I'm not trying to tell you a sad story or anything. Again, mine doesn't add up to a lot of your all's. But he developed septicemia, which is a blood infection that you get. He became septic. The septicemia ran through his bloodstream, poked 2 big holes in his heart. So within the first week of his life, he had to have open heart surgery and reconstructive bowel surgery to basically get him, and spent the first 16 weeks of his life in the hospital, okay? So you guys can imagine the medical bills from that, right? That was ugly. I lost my job, number one. That was number one. Lost my job because in corporate America, they give you sick time. They give you vacation time, and they give you leave of absence time. Once you use all of that, you're on your own, right? So I lost my job just trying to be present, trying to be at the hospital. I then woke up one night, or I didn't wake up one night. I was sitting on the couch watching TV, looked out the window. There was blue lights, police car out in my driveway. Really nice police lady handed me a piece of paper and said, "You've been served."
Oh, my.
I opened it up and looked. I was like, "What is this?" It was a civil summons to appear in court for medical bills, right? Because they weren't okay with a $25 a month payment plan, like a lot of them are now. Like, they just weren't. So shortly thereafter, guys, I had to get into, I had to file bankruptcy. That was my only way out of this, okay? $250,000 in medical bills, no job. My wife at the time also left. That's a whole other conversation. But she left due to the stress of the financial effect that it had on our marriage. So I was all alone with a child who was left with permanent physical and mental disabilities that he would have for the rest of his life and still does currently to this day. I was getting served civil summons. How do I get myself out of this? For me, at the time, bankruptcy made sense because I could put this behind me. And then I had to go, several months later, I had to go to the courthouse here in Shelbyville, and I watched them auction my house at the courthouse steps because I couldn't keep my car. They came with a tow truck, nice guys. I tried to give them the keys to it, but they still put it on the thing to take it. And I was like, "You guys are making your life hard. Here's the key. Just take it." And then I had to watch my house get sold or auctioned at courthouse steps, right? And then when that happens, the bank comes after you to sue you for the difference of what you owed on the loan and what they got from your auction, right? So only option was bankruptcy. So the reason why I do this work is, again, it doesn't match up to a lot of your all's personal stories, but for me, I'm a total product of rock bottom. There was many nights where I was sitting alone with a screaming, crying kid, by myself, a man, young kid, never had a baby. My family wasn't really close to me. I was all alone. And if I had had the money, frankly, I might have went to, drugs or alcohol or some sort of coping mechanism that I needed, right? There was a night when a lady came, it was another knock on my door, and I was like, "Oh crap, what now?" Right? Because it was a dark night, and I looked outside as this little lady, and she introduced herself to me as, I can't even remember her name, honestly. She was from Finchville Baptist Church, which I lived in Finchville at the time. She handed me a check for $500 and a honey baked ham, so I could eat, number one, and I could use this $500 as like a down payment for the apartment that I needed to go rent because I was 1 month from being homeless. No idea what to do. No one rents to you when you got crappy credit, right? No one, even private owners of homes are like, "Well, I got to do a credit check on you. Do you even know how to read a credit bureau?" Like, yeah, mine sucks, but do you know how to read it, right? So for me, guys, I made a decision at that moment that I am not going to let this define the rest of my life. I'm going to pick myself up out of this hole. And I was in a hole. Depression, anxiety, you name it, I had it. I thought I was dying of heart disease, but I went to the doctor, like, "I'm having chest pain. After my stress test and heart catheterization, they're like, "It's just anxiety." Like, great, give me that medication now, right? So again, I'm product of rock bottom. You can make a decision, build yourself up, make a commitment that I'm not going to let this change me, and there's no situation that is too bad. Financial health looks different for everybody, right? We have to decide what that means for all of us. Again, getting to financial health is so closely related to mental health, physical health, spiritual health. I mean, the average family in the United States of America does not have $400 in a savings account to use for life's unexpected things that pop up. When you need a flat tire or, something goes wrong with your house or anything, right? That stuff costs money, and that, people just don't have it these days. Financial stress can also lead, like I said, to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as drugs, alcohol, sex even, unhealthy relationships. Give you guys a couple stats. 41% of all divorces that occur in people ages 41 to 56 start by financial stress arguments. So my mission is to help change that, right? But in order to do that, we have to genuinely change, and I'm trying to keep my place, forgive me if I keep looking down. We have to genuinely change the relationship that we have with money, right? Speaking to what I said earlier about budget. I hate that word, like I told you guys. The word budget stresses me out. As soon as you hear budget, a lot of people immediately check out, right? They're like, nope, that's not for me. But if you guys were interested, I wanted you all to know, over there on that table, I put something really cool. It's a monthly budget worksheet, okay? There's a whole stack of them over there. Please grab one if you want one on your way out, okay? Because for me, in order to change our relationship with money, i.e. budget, right, we got to see it. We got to put it on paper. It's important to write it down because that helps you with that mental capacity of, wow, this is real for me, right? And that helps take that next step of a goal, right? You have to have a goal. And you got to be real about it. Like, plenty of people have so many financial goals. My financial goal is I want to own a Ford Raptor. I don't need a $60,000 truck. My one I have now works just fine. But I want one, but I don't need it, right? So again, changing the relationship we have of wants versus needs. Looking at it, writing it down. I have a 24-hour rule now. Amazon was almost a death in me. Anybody got an Amazon problem? I got an Amazon problem. Based on my previous financial struggles that I had, I've developed this really weird thing about money and possessions. That I'm always afraid somebody's going to take something from me. And I want stuff. Like I have a want to buy nice things. I have a want to buy my kids nice things. I just want things, right? Because I lost everything. And I've worked so hard to get it all back that now I want stuff. I'm not a hoarder, but I want stuff, right? So somebody got into my head once and they're like, look, 24 hours, take a 24 rule. I've almost got it tattooed on my wrist multiple times. Take 24 seconds in the workplace, take 24 hours to think about a nasty email before you reply to it. Take 24 hours to think about this purchase or this want that we think we have. So now when I go to Amazon, I put stuff in my cart. I take 24 hours to think about it. By the next day, I don't even care about it most of the time. So that's been huge for me. Again, basics, changing our relationships we have with money, right? I want to tell you guys, something. I'm not very educated when it comes to, the Bible and things like that. But for me, the key to my financial health, my financial recovery, was Jesus. Jesus has to be the foundation in everything we do. From your success at work, from your challenges we have in our relationships, from our financial recovery to our addictions to whatever, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, Jesus has to be the foundation. And you probably never hear another banker say that in public forum. But for me, it's very real. Okay, it's true. It's not possible to do it. And I do actually know a couple of Bible verses that I wrote down. So, in Luke 6:20, Jesus said, "Blessed are those who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are those who are hungry now, but you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for one day you will laugh." I love this verse because that covers basically the last 15, 20 years of my life. And I also love the verse where he says, in this life, you're going to have struggles. You're going to have problems. But, forgive me for the exact wording, but take heart, for I have overcome the world, right? And for me, that's a big one too, because through your financial journey, and we'll get more into that in a second. Make sure I'm doing okay. I got 5 more minutes. Through your financial journey, you're going to hit a bump, right? It's one thing to say, you know what, I'm going to sit down and make a budget, and then I'm going to have a goal, and then I'm going to go do all these things. But then something gets in the way, or we get in our own way. We get in our heads. We overthink. People in this room, I feel like we all probably think alike, including myself, right? That I get defeated easy, and I give up sometimes, but you got to just get back up and do it again. So part of the 12-step process is there a bump in the road, right? Part of the financial process has to also be a bump in the road. So ultimately, guys, it's just, again, getting back to changing our relationship with money, and most of all, just be kind to ourselves. Like, we are so hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves to death over stuff, over mistakes that we make. We stress out about it. We overthink it. We argue with our spouses because of stupid stuff that we've done, that I've done every day, right? It's the key to financial health is having a smart goal. A smart goal, the S stands for specific. Specific goal, like, what do you want? Like, what is it that you want? Well, you know what? I just like to have a savings account for a rainy day fund. Okay, great. Now you got to have a measurable goal. You want that rainy day savings account fund. What does that look like? How much is that for you? Is it $100? Is it $200? Is it $300? $400? Like, what is it that you could look at a savings account and know, I've got that there, that makes me feel better, right? And the A in SMART stands for achievable. Like, it has to be real. Like, let's keep it real. Like, it's one thing to sit here and say, you know what, I want to have $1 million in the bank one day. Well, for me, that's just not real. I got 5 kids. So it's just never going to be a thing for me, okay? Especially with my wife who loves Disney World, for any of you who are Facebook friends with me and don't already know that.
Did you delete your Amazon account yet?
She's the one that taught me the 24 rule, by the way. So, yeah. Anyways, make sure I didn't skip anything. So the R is keep it real. Keep it relevant. Again, getting back to sometimes in recovery, financial recovery, whatever type of recovery, there's setbacks. But that's okay. The key is just to get back up, keep fighting, give yourself a break, and be nice to yourself, and keeping your eye on the North Star, right? Dave's wife taught me several months ago, going through Stephen Ministry program here at Shelby Christian, was know what your chicken is. Anybody know what anybody heard? Dave's probably heard her say, "What's your chicken?" You've heard it, okay? So, real quick, rhetorical questions. What does McDonald's do really well? They do burgers and fries and Coke, right? Anytime they ever try to veer away from burgers and fries and Coke and do specialty chicken sandwiches, it never works. They always have to give up and come back to what they do best, right? What does Taco Bell do? Taco Bell does tacos. That's what they do best. Every time they try to do French fries and breakfast and Baja Blast, it never works. They always have to come back to what works. What does Chick-fil-A do? What's that? Oh, gosh. What does Chick-fil-A do? Chicken. And it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
That's all they do. And I'm pretty sure that, it's the #1 selling restaurant in America the last...
And they're only open 6 days a week?
And they're only 6 days a week. And their operating hours are they're not 24/7 like White Castles and McDonald's and all of those places. They stick to what they know and who they are. So my challenge to each of you guys before you start on whatever journey it is to sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, and ask a question. Who am I? And know that. And what's your chicken? Who am I? What's your chicken?
I can't say it seriously.
And stick to it. Now, I teach this in professional settings, like corporate settings, and people are like, this dude's crazy. But they keep asking me to come back for some reason. So, who am I? What's your chicken? Stick to it. Don't change it for nobody. Okay? And then, above all, look at your spending. Use my budget worksheet. Okay? It's very real. It makes a difference when you see it on paper. Now, my call to action for me, typically I do a full workshop on this. We sit down, we do a full workshop, we get, you guys have a packet of papers, we do a lot of writing, we do a lot of interaction, a lot of questions and things like that. I would love to come here and do a series of workshops with you guys. Completely complimentary, completely free. I know you all are busy and you got things going on already, but I left a little notepad over at the desk, and it's like, ask for your name, your email address, and your phone number. If you don't want to share any of that with me, it's fine. But also the last column is, are you interested in possibly attending a financial workshop? I would love to put one on for you. I can come here. I don't know, we would work that logistics out. If there's enough interest, I'll come here and do one. Again, getting back to savings and budgeting, that's one workshop. Credit is another workshop for those of us that maybe we don't really know how credit works. We don't understand. We've made some mistakes in our credit. We want to get back to where we want to be, right? I can help with that. But again, it's very basic. I don't do credit repair, but I can give you the tools and the information that you need to take ownership and go out and do it, okay? Don't pay people for that service. If you have to pay anybody for that service, it's not real. I promise you. Like, it's just not. And then when they slap it on your credit bureau that you're in a credit counseling service that looks just as bad as a bankruptcy on your credit. Trust me, I look at them every day. I know this, okay? So listen to me when I tell you that part. And just make a small, and my business cards are over there too. So I don't like passing out business cards because I have to preface the fact that I don't sell product. So I'm not standing up here trying to sell credit cards. I'm on the corporate side of the bank, not the consumer side. So I can care less where you bank at, but I want to extend my hand to you all if you want the workshop. I also do one-on-one financial. I'm a certified financial coach. I do one-on-ones because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different. I'd be happy to meet you one-on-one at Starbucks, at the Chase here in Shelbyville, meet you here if they let me, and we can look at your own individual situation and try to get a plan together, right? And then we'll have a follow. But I'm going to put you to work. There will be homework. I'm going to follow up with you. I'm going to text you. I'm going to email you. Like, I'm going to be on you.
Good.
And hopefully, but it's all in the spirit of, I just want to see you guys, happy and one less stress. So another small win that I ask you is fill this budget worksheet out. Be intentional with trying to spend $1 less a day. $1 less a day. Because $1 less a day will lead to $365 in 1 year in a savings account at the end of the year. It'd be great to have that going into Christmas, right? Lord knows I struggle at Christmas time with 5 kids. All right? $5 less a day. I met a guy the other day that, he buys this fancy bottled water. And bottled water is $4. The bottle he was buying is $4 a bottle. He's doing it every day, sometimes twice a day, $8 a day, and just bottled water. Like, man, go to Costco, get a case for $12, and now just put $80 back in your pocket in a week, and that's $320 back in your pocket at the end of the month. And he's like, man, I've already got $250 saved up in my savings account for that one change. Yes, that was a small win. Doesn't take a lot of effort. Doesn't take, a mental capacity, an intelligent person to just spend $1 to $5 less a day, okay? Look at your bills. Look at your utilities, wants versus needs. I'm guilty. I got to have all the things. I got to have all the streaming services. I got to have the Hulu, the Netflix, the HBO Now. I got to have all the things. I don't need all the things, okay? My wife reminds me of that every day. You don't even watch this stuff. Why are we paying for it? So just, again, changing our relationship we have with money because I'm used to not having anything. I'm used to looking at a blank TV that didn't work, and now I got to have it all, right? So, but that's how our minds work, unfortunately. So, lastly, again, call to action. Fill out my thing if you guys are interested in another workshop. If any of you guys are interested in me reaching out to you one-on-one and you want to meet one-on-one, fill it out. I'll send you an email. How can I help you? Hey, I'd love to meet with you one-on-one at Kroger or Starbucks or Chase or the church or wherever. Come to my home. I don't care. My kids are going to be screaming, but whatever.
Used to.
Yeah, exactly. So my business cards are over there too, guys. My email address is on there. If you don't want to fill out my form, it's okay. You can email me directly one-on-one for privacy reasons, but ultimately, thank you guys for letting me come up. I'd love to link back up with some of you, all of you, and do this again, okay?
Awesome.
So thank you guys. I appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you, Jeremy. So guys, no kidding, if anybody would be interested in if you're nowhere even near ready to start something like that, it's okay. Just conversations about stuff like this mean the world.
Changing your mindset.
Changing your mindsets, changing your habits. and having goals, something to look forward to down the road. It gives us something to work for. So I would highly encourage anybody that even had an inkling of a thought about doing it, please sign up for it. Jeremy's willing to donate his time to us to help us in recovery. And finances is a big recovery issue. So please take him up on it. You know, I believe we got a few minutes left here, so I'm going to invite Dave up. We're going to finish what we started. Yep, I can do it again.
No, that's all right. All right, so funny,
Trust me, I can do it.
funny story happened to me on the way to the church.
Oh, yeah. Should have kept that truck.
Here's how God works. I picked my granddaughter up at 6 o'clock. No, that's probably not right now. I go through Taco Bell at 6:05. You know how far Taco Bell is from here? It's like 2 miles.
3 minutes.
And I'm like, okay, 6:05. She just got done with volleyball practice. She hadn't been home since school started this morning. I can get her a taco. 6:30 is no problem. You've been through the drive-thru at Taco Bell. And there's no way to get out of it. And 6:50.
What?
45 minutes
Because they have one worker there.
to get. But here's the God thing. That's God working. Because I'm like, they got the girls in the back, and I'm like, it's not your all's fault, and like, you know, they're sort of. I'm trying to be like calm and trying to be both.
way I do.
I'm trying to be granddad and pastor at the same time, you know, and all those kind of things. And get up to the window, and the poor girl working the window I baptized here just a few months ago. So I'm like, okay, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I left my buddy hanging that I promised 6 months ago I wouldn't miss the night for nothing. But other than that, it's all good. It's
Sure, you
all
don't want
good.
me to play that song? It's called "Fight My
Yeah, I
Battle."
know. I've been
Yeah.
fighting him. I've been singing that song since 6:06 when I got in line tonight. Hey, this is special. As you guys know, when we get anytime somebody gets a year or an additional year, we do chips that are engraved with their name. And this guy is not only getting a chip, a dear friend, had been for a long time, fought this battle together for, we can't even figure out how many years, but it's double figure years. Since our boys, it's probably pushing 20 years now, since our boys were little and playing baseball together. And I've watched a guy go from someone that I had to go up to at a ball game and say, come on, bro, we gotta go. You're making a scene, to someone that I absolutely 100% trust my life with today, and someone who 4 years sober is awesome, but that doesn't even come close to telling the story of the difference that Dean Burke has been making in people's lives and what he's been doing. And so, yeah, I was about to drive through a Taco Bell and make a real scene, but you know, I could stay here the rest of the night. But I'm so proud of not just Dean, but all you guys, kind of like, and Jeremy, bro, you've been hiding it like you could speak in public. The cat's out of the bag now, okay? Great job presenting that. But anybody that comes and says, look, I got stuff in my life that I got to work on, whether it's alcohol, narcotics, gambling, mismanaging money, whatever. Anybody who tells you they don't have something that they need to work on, I tell you what they need to work on. Honesty, because they're lying. But I've watched and I've challenged and encouraged, and for you guys, especially anybody that struggles with that demon in liquid form in a bottle, I would tell you that this is the first person in this room that you need to get with and let him get you to where he is, with the help of God and God's grace in our life. So this is from my friend, my brother, Dean Burke, 4 years, man.
Speech.
I was just making an assumption you were talking.
No, I hadn't planned on it at all. What I said to Dave when I came up here, for one reason or another, it hadn't worked out for Dave to give me a chip, so it took 4 years to get this done. So I'm very appreciative to Dave for taking the time to do that. It means a lot to me, and it's very humbling. You know, I can remember, and I shared this in my testimony. The second time I went to rehab, they were both hard, and coming out of it, it was hard, especially in early on. And those of you that have been there know what I'm talking about. Early on in your recovery, man, it's tough. And I'd gotten so far out there, and so I had to work an auction on a Sunday, and so I slept in the back, and I sat back there on the very last row, and right at the end of the service, I booked out, and at that time, we were meeting down at Awaken Ministries, and I had discovered, somebody had told me about Celebrate Recovery, and so I discovered that they were having meetings down there, and so I went down there and didn't know anything about it, didn't know anybody down there or anything, and in walks Dave, and he walks up and says, "Hey man, it's good to see you at church today." I was like, yeah. I was like, wow, you know, what a great feeling it is to be noticed, especially when you're hurting. And I'll never forget this, and I tell this story a lot. He got up and was speaking to all those of us that were in recovery, and he said, "You guys are my heroes." And I thought, what did he say? I'm nobody's hero. I'm an alcoholic. And he said it again. And from that moment on, it just showed me how much Dave cares about the whole recovery community. And we've had a lot of talks and spent a lot of time together. And it's an honor to call him my friend. And he's helped me out a whole lot, as I'm sure he has, you all. I know we're running over, and I really didn't plan on saying anything. The only thing I can tell you, to get from where I was to where I am now, like I said, it took me 2 trips through rehab and countless other times. I quit so many times, I don't even know, I've lost count. The first time I tried to do it on my own, and that lasted about a year, and went back out, and that didn't work out so well. And that's usually why you always hear me say whenever it's my turn in the rotation up here is, the old saying, you should avoid using the words always or never, because generally very few things are either always or never, but there is one that is both. If you go back out, things always get worse. They never get better. And you won't be the first. I thought I was going to be the first one to prove that wrong. And I got news for you. You won't be the first either. And as a matter of fact, there's never been anyone, you won't find anyone out there that says something like this. I was clean and sober for a while. But you know, I went back out and things got better. And the reason you've never heard anybody say that is because nobody ever has. So that's one thing I would like to share with you. But the main thing, we talk about it here at Community Recovery. The difference between sobriety and recovery is Jesus. You know, the first time I went to rehab, when I got out, I was sober about a year and 3 months, but I was what they call white knuckling it, doing it on my own. And I had sobriety, but I had no joy. I had sobriety, but I didn't have a real life. The second time around, I found Jesus, made him the Lord of my life, and that's what the difference is. So if there's anything that I could share with you all tonight to help you on your journey, would, one, make Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior and have a personal relationship with him. Seek God's will every day. Every day. Preferably in the morning before your day gets too busy. Seek his will on everything. Big stuff, medium stuff, even little stuff. Ask the Holy Spirit throughout the day. Holy Spirit, guide me. Jesus, help me. God, I need you. Work the 12 steps. Your deal doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. Work the 12 steps honestly and sincerely, and it will change your life. It's a fact. And give yourself time. You know, I've failed many times in trying to quit drinking. And 4 years doesn't make me any better than anybody in this room. And there's a lot of people, especially those close to me, that have watched me fail in the past. And, you know, I'm sure it's been on their mind. I wonder if he'll drink again. And to be quite honest with you, there's several times I've thought the same thing. Because getting sober and being in recovery and keeping God first doesn't necessarily make your life easier. As a matter of fact, sometimes the more you're in the will of God and doing God's work, you'll probably get yourself in the crosshairs of Satan a lot. So you need to be prepared for that. So I'm sure there's, like I said, times when people have wondered that because I've wondered it myself. And you know, the first time when I got sober, I looked at this like this huge mountain. I've got to stay sober the rest of my life, and it was a huge mountain, and it overwhelmed me and it ate me up, and I failed. It was too big. So whatever your it is, if you look at the big picture, it can be too big. It will consume you. So have goals, have dreams, have a plan for the future. That's great. That's what you need to do. But in working on your recovery, take it one day at a time. Let's concentrate on today. So, you know, the question people I'm sure have wondered, will I ever drink again? My best honest answer to that is, I don't know. I don't know. But although I don't know the answer to that question, what I do know is this: it won't be today.
Amen, brother.
That's a fact. It won't be today. Ask me again tomorrow. But it's not going to happen today. So take care of today on your recovery. The other thing is figure out the things that are important in life. And it may surprise you that it's not that car, not that boat, not that bank account. My stuff's going to be different from your stuff. They should be your family. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing outside of your relationship with Jesus is your family. Love your neighbor. Be appreciative of the little things in life. And take time to enjoy and love the simple things that are important to you. There's a movie out, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's called Christopher Robin. If any of you ever seen it. And in the movie, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but towards the end of the movie, Christopher Robin, he's grown up now, but he's really busy and he's working his job and everything, and he doesn't have much time to spend with his friends in the 100-acre woods. And so they finally get back together and everything, and Christopher Robin is with Pooh, and they're sitting there. And of course, if you're a big Winnie the Pooh fan like I am, Winnie the Pooh's favorite thing to do with Christopher Robin is what? Nothing. That's what his favorite thing is. Anyway, be careful about getting too busy in life with things that don't really matter. Spend the time with the things that are important. But in this part, Pooh asks Christopher Robin, he says, "Christopher Robin?" "Yes, Pooh." "What day is it?" "Well, it's today, Pooh." "Oh, that's good, because yesterday when it was tomorrow, it was too much day for me." Now, when I saw that at the movie, I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. So I came home and Googled from the movie. But if you think about it, we all get so busy in our lives, living for tomorrow. And that's what was going on in the movie. Christopher Robin was so busy he didn't have time to do nothing with Pooh. That was his favorite thing. So just remember that today, because yesterday when it was tomorrow, it was too much day for me. Thank you all for being here, and keep God first.